Hello students, it's Mr. Montes and we are back with the second part of Multiplying Binomials. If you haven't yet, go ahead and watch Multiplying Binomials Part A first. It has some of the finer details and some of the more basic information about multiplying two binomials together. For Part B, we're actually going to jump into a little bit more complicated type of binomials. So make sure that you get that first Part A taken care of and then move on to Part B. Part A did have a couple of hiccups. Now I don't know that this is spelled correctly, so I'm going to go ahead and underline it in red because I'm pretty sure it's not. But there were some issues with number 3 and number 5 that I really want to go over because I saw a lot of errors on some of the work that was submitted on number 3 as well as number 5. So on number 3, let's go ahead and walk through that. So it's a binomial, two binomials being multiplied together. We should end up with the trinomial, we know that. We are going to distribute this thing, so we're going to multiply this to x and to negative 7. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this as x plus 4, this whole thing in yellow times x. So I should end up with x times x plus 4. Remember, it's the thing in yellow times this the x right here. So, and then I'm going to put a plus in between, and that's going to happen every single time no matter what. Okay, that's where the error was actually occurring, is this piece. People were forgetting that there's a plus there. So I'm going to put the plus right there before I even multiply, and I'm going to write x plus 4 times negative 7. So this is going to be, I'm going to write this as negative 7 first to make it a little bit easier on me. And then I'm going to write x plus 4. Now, if you wrote yours opposite, backwards, it's not really backwards, but you wrote them in a different order, where you put maybe the x on this side and the negative 7 on this side, that's fine. You're okay. There's nothing wrong with that. The only thing is that sometimes when we have negatives like this and I put it on this side, if I don't put a multiplication symbol, it makes it seem like like it's x plus 4 quantity minus 7. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm actually going to write this little this piece right here out in front, and it doesn't matter how you multiply things. 8 times 3, for example, is the same thing as 3 times 8. So don't forget this plus right here that the red arrow is pointing at, and then you would go ahead and you distribute again, here to here, here to here, and then you'd end up with x squared plus 4x. Negative 7 times x would be plus negative 7x, still keeping that plus there. And then we have negative 7 times positive 4 would be minus 28. Now what we have to do is combine the like terms, 4x, negative 7x, and we have to combine those into x squared. These two combined make negative 3x minus 28. Okay, and that would be my final answer. Okay, if you still have questions about that, rewind the video, watch it again. If it still doesn't make sense, email us. All right. So let's take a look at number 5. Number 5, I saw this a lot, and it's common. You wouldn't be the only one in algebra to have ever done this, or in any other course. People distributed this 2. Unfortunately, you can't do that. The only time we can distribute the 2 like that is if it was x times 2, or 2x. Then it'd be x to the power of 2, times 2 to the power of 2. Unfortunately, it's not. You can't do this. All right? When we have that little 2 at the top, that exponent, what that really means is that I have x plus 2 written out and multiplied to x plus 2. So I have 2 factors of x plus 2. And I'm sorry if you can hear my child in the background. I promise you we're not torturing him. He just gets really angry when you don't feed him quickly. So after you get this, you do exactly what we did on number 3. You'd distribute x plus 2 to x plus 2 to 2, and then distribute after that again, combine like terms, and you're done. Alright, so I'm not going to walk you through the rest of that. I just want to point out the error that people were making. Again, this right here is not okay. Okay, that can't happen. Big crossed out, right? again, you have 2 factors of x plus 2. So you have to write that out in a different format. All right, so let's move on to what we want to do today. So today we're just going to do several more examples of multiplying binomials. And it really, for you, maybe it doesn't look any different than what we did before. But for some other people, you know, it's going to be a little bit more complicated. Just because we're tossing in some bigger numbers and maybe some negatives. So that'll be exciting for us. So let's try this one. Let's try quantity 3x minus 2, and we're going to multiply that to 2x plus 2. And what I'm going to do here, again, I'm going to think of this whole thing as one thing, and I'm going to distribute that to that and that to that. It's not one piece being distributed, but rather the entire quantity 3x minus 2 to each piece. So again, I'm going to write this as 3x minus 2 times 2x, but I'm going to put the 2x out in front and the 3x minus 2 after that, just to make life a little bit easier for me. And I'm always going to write plus in between, no matter what. And then I have 3x minus 2 times 2, but I'm going to write the 2 out in front, and I'm going to put 3x minus 2 out back. Again, just making life a little easier for us, especially when we start dealing with some negatives. We're going to distribute again. Got this piece there and there. We got this piece there and there. And now we end up with 2x times 3x. 2 times 3 is going to be 6. And x times x is going to be x squared. And then 2x times negative 2, that'll be minus 4x. Plus, because of this plus right here every single time, 2 times 3x is 6x, and then 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. We do have like terms. It's almost always going to happen with the exception of one scenario, which we may or may not get to today. 6x squared, I have negative 4x's, I have positive 6x's, so that means I'm left with positive 2x minus 4. And you are done. Successfully multiplied those 2 binomials. Alright, let's try a different one. Let's go on to another example. I guess this is example 2, right? I should have labeled the other one number 1. Let me go back. Example 1. There we go. Example 2. I have negative x plus 2 times x plus 3. Now the procedure is going to remain the same. The procedure doesn't change based off whether you have a negative in front of the x, whether it's positive, whether x has a coefficient, or anything like that. The procedure remains exactly the same. We still take the factor and we distribute the entire factor to each term in the next factor. So I got negative x plus 2 multiplied to each piece. Again, negative x plus 2 times x, I'm going to write that as x times negative x plus 2. And that's for convenience. Certain scenarios get a little messier if I do it the other way around. And luckily for us, again, 2 times 4 is the same thing as 4 times 2. I'm going to write a plus in between, and then it's negative x plus 2 times 3. Negative x plus 2 times 3. So I'm going to write 3 times negative x plus 2. And then I do the same thing that I've done before. I distribute, I take my x, I distribute here, take my 3, and distribute here. Alright, so x times negative x, that's negative x to the power of 2. X times positive 2 would be plus 2x. I have my plus here, so I just bring that straight down, so plus. And then I have negative 3x. 3 times 2 would be plus 6. So now I just got to do a little organization here. Those are my 2 like terms because they both have x to the power of 1 attached to those numbers. So my negative x squared doesn't change. Positive 2x plus a negative 3x. So a 2 plus a negative 3 should be a minus 1x plus 6. Another way you could write that without the 1. Whatever you prefer. I'll leave the 1 in there just so it makes it more obvious. But you could totally do it the other way. And you are done. And that would be your answer. Alright, so Let's do another one. And I have 2 here. I think I'm going to just do one more. I think that's all you need. Example 3. We don't want to overwhelm you with more. Whoops, hold on. I got all kinds of things popping up. WIA. Emails. Negative 3x. You know what? I need to write nicer. Negative 3x. There we go. Plus 1. Times negative x minus 4. Alright, so again, the procedure doesn't change. It remains the same, except, we're dealing with some negatives. We got a coefficient of 3 here, and so it may look more confusing, but it's really not. It's really just the same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this entire thing here. Oh, let me do that in red. As we've been doing, and I'm going to distribute that entire thing to each term in the next factor here. I'm just going to be careful about the way I organize it. Now it's negative 3x plus 1 times negative x. That's the first one we're going to do. Let me get rid of that. So that first one, again, I'm going to write that instead as negative x times negative 3x plus 1. It does not matter how you organize it. Again, it just matters that you're multiplying the two together. I like to have my negative x out in front so that when I do this, it doesn't look like this. Because that looks a little bit more confusing because we have to add in more symbols. And it seems a little backwards. Because typically when we talk about distribution, we like to distribute the thing that's on the left. So I'll leave that as negative x there. Plus, oh, I don't know if you can hear that. Sounds like he ran out of food. Hopefully mom gets to him quick. Okay. Back to the business at hand. Negative 3x plus 1 is what we had to distribute. We have negative 3x plus 1. Now that's going to be multiplied to negative 4. So I'm going to write plus. That's always going to be there. Negative 4 parentheses negative 3x plus 1. Okay. Really haven't done any work here. Just rewritten this thing in a different format. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to distribute negative x times negative 3x. So a negative times a negative is a positive 3. And then I have x times x, which is x squared. Negative 3, negative x times positive 1 will be minus 1x. And I like to write the 1 there for now just to keep track of everything. And then we move on to this piece. Negative 4 times a negative 3x. Oh, I forgot my plus, didn't I? That's the plus there. This will be positive 12x, so I don't need to write plus again. That would be one more symbol than I need. And then we're going to multiply negative 4 times 1. So this will be minus 4. And again, I end up with, whoops, Yvette, you made it into my video today. Those as like terms. 3x squared plus 11x minus 4. And at this point, you are now done. And that is the last example. If you guys are having issues, please let us know. And we will get back to you. In any case, this is the last part for the assignment for the week. You should be able to complete that assignment. Submit that assignment according to whatever your teacher has told you that you need to do. Some people are doing things a little bit differently. Some people are using Teams. Some people are using email. Just if you have a question, let us know. Talk to you soon.